What's poppin'? So your girl can rant, communicate, conversate, whatever you like to call it. And today we are here to talk about part 2 of a gay queen's story, okay? For those that have not seen part 1, I will link it down below in the description. Sorry, airplane. We'll let it pass on through. Alright, like I was saying, if you have not seen part 1, I will link it down below for you guys to go and look at it. It will basically give you first part the first part of the story, okay? And I will tell y'all basically a little what is it called, basically a little bit of what the beginning of the story was, okay? So I met this person on the bus, and we started talking, and they started to tell me they started to tell me their life story, okay? And their names, I'm going to say, is Jay, right? And they had a best friend named S, right? And how they became best friends was they were talking or mingling on a dating app, but they both just got out of a toxic situation, so they really wasn't looking for nobody. They really was just, just chilling and doing whatever, okay? Jay and S became best friends. Okay, they've been living together for some time. I don't remember how long, but they've known each other, if I remember correctly, is 3 years since they've known each other. 3 years and some months or whatever, if I remember correctly what Jay was telling me. And they were close, like close. And it got to a point where God had split them apart, and they weren't as connected as they were in the beginning. And during that time, things started to fall apart to where S was over here not telling Jay everything, and Jay was confused on why S was treating him a certain way, and why S was acting weird and stuff like that. I'm sorry, I'm kind of scratching my leg because fucking mosquitoes. And I did bug spray today, so fingers crossed I don't get too many bug bites. But yeah, he didn't understand why S was treating him the way he was, and why basically S was pushing him back. And for those that don't know, S has autism, right? And so, sometimes people with autism, they don't really, their mental is not as, I'm not going to say that, because some autistic people can talk, but not talk, can have a mental mind, but basically their emotions was not, they can't really recollect their emotions properly, okay? And so Jay understood that, but the thing was, S was over here doing things and just, living life, and not telling Jay anything, and leaving Jay on the back burner. And in the beginning, in the first part, I was saying how me and Jay were talking, and it got to a point where I was saying that I think S doesn't understand that he likes K more than he says he does. And if y'all don't know who K is a person that S found on the dating apps or whatever. If you want to hear about that, go to the first part, okay? And he wasn't telling Jay about S. I got a big ass bite mark on my motherfucking lip. Wow, on my thigh. I just felt that, bitch. That's huge. Oh, about a goddamn dime. Damn. Anyway, sorry. Sorry. I'm trying to focus. But, yeah, S didn't tell Jay about K, but it came up a little bit, and K was telling me, not K, Jay was telling me that, as he was sitting, and listening to S and how S was talking, things were basically coming back to him on how S was, how S was acting a couple months back, and how S wanted to go to a certain state, and come to find out K lives in that certain state, and they wanted to do all this jazz thing. Do all this stuff with S, and S wanted to do all this stuff with K and stuff, but he didn't tell J, which he didn't have to, because at the end of the day, S and J weren't technically together, like a relationship wise, but they were best friends. And also they were best friends with benefits. And J was telling me that when not K, what are you? I'm sorry, there's a white bug here. Let me show y'all. You see that? That thing right there. You see that shit? What even is that? Random ass insects in this world. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Jay was telling me that when S doesn't do sexual things with people, he don't really fuck with them like that anymore. And them S and J stopped doing sexual things. Sorry. S stopped doing sexual things with Jay, like I said, because they were friends with benefits. But the thing was, Jay and S, or at least Jay told me that him and S were people that didn't really do things with other people like that. They were usually people that were old school, like, they only do it with their basically forever person or whatever. And they were having conversations about how, they've always wanted to marry their best friends, and S was saying the same thing to Jay, and Jay basically fell in love with S. And S, in the beginning, Jay told me that Jay told me that S had told him when they first met that when I first put my eyes on you, or when I first met you, I fell in love with you. But they were going through something at the time, so Jay wasn't ready. So then they became friends, and then they became best friends, and then they became friends with benefits. So it got to the point where Jay had fell in love eventually, but then S decided, I guess, that he wasn't for Jay anymore, because Jay was over there, going through therapy and healing himself and doing what he needs to do, because S had told him, like, hey, dude, you need to go to therapy, because Jay was going through some things, but S was going through some things as well, and S didn't take his own advice and go to therapy at the time. So while Jay was going to therapy and healing himself, S was kind of going downhill and hiding things from Jay and not talking to Jay and telling Jay basically the things that he wanted to hear. And then it got to the point where he was distancing himself because I guess Jay wasn't basically connected to his hip. He wasn't as clingy as he wanted him to be. And you got to understand, Jay was like telling S, like, you got to understand, like, I have a job, I have to pay bills and I got to do all this. I can't be with you 24/7. You know what I'm saying? And I guess not Jay. I guess S didn't take that the right way, and it got to the point where Jay was sneaking, not Jay, S was sneaking around, and technically not sneaking around because he could be with anybody, but S was basically going to find somebody else, and that's how K came into the picture. And then it got to the point where K had came down to Minnesota and started mingling with S, and S was there mingling with K and sending pictures, adult pictures. If you know, okay. And Jay was just there, and Jay was sitting there and acknowledging that, okay, we used to be best friends, we used to be locked in, we used to be good people, we used to be friends with benefits, we used to be all this. Now you're pushing me aside and you're not even telling me what I did wrong or telling me how I did something wrong, basically holding it in and not even telling me, what's going on. You're just pushing me aside and saying, oh, there's nothing wrong. The audacity of this bug. Get off my shit. Oh shit, it's a dancing bug. Get off my shit. Get off my shit. I'm sorry, y'all. Give me a second. I don't want to blow you. Pause. Pause. Damn, it jumped right here. Get away. Get away. Get away. Get away. Jesus, get away. For those that have their mind in the gutter for what I just said, shut your ass up. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Jay was basically seeing S fall out of love with him and get more interested in K. And it hurt Jay's heart because it was just like, damn, I'm here giving you all this love and appreciation, and I'm not only helping you, but I'm helping your mom, and I'm doing all this shit for you, basically being a wife, even though they're not in wife position, you know what I'm saying? Basically being a wife, showing us what you could have if you became my end all be all, which Jay thought him and S was going to be their end all be all. But as times went on, he realized that S is, like I said, is pushing him away and replacing him with this younger person, which is K, that has, I guess, more in common than Jay do with S. And so, like I said, when I had opened my mouth and said that I don't think S realizes how much he really likes K, because at the end of the day, S is autistic, so sometimes autistic people don't know how to recollect their emotions well. And I know that because I have an autistic nephew, and sometimes it's hard for him to recollect his emotions, and not only that, hard to speak out how he feels. So it's just like, for S, it's I guess it's more easier to talk to somebody that's also autistic, which K is autistic as well. She's more autistic than S. And so they're more compatible in some type of way, but that's how Jay was telling me. And then we were talking, like I said, Jay had cried when I had told him about how I don't think S really understands how much he likes K. And, like I said in the first part, we were having a full-blown therapy session. And the thing was, excuse me, we had got off the bus at the same stop. This was no coincidence. In my life, I don't believe in coincidence. I believe that everything happens for a reason. And the fact that that man had came on the bus after I had seen the person that I used to fuck with back in my past, and how some shit happened with that person, and then now all of a sudden Jay came on the bus with the doggy, and I was like, oh, this dog is cute. And then we had got drawn to each other, and he started telling me about his life. And not only that, we had got off on the same bus, like the same stop, and we literally stopped. We got off the bus stop. We got off the bus and we sat there at the stop for a minute, and then he walked me to my sister's crib, and we literally sat there outside talking for a good 30-45 minutes after that. And we was just having the whole conversation, and I was just like, man, we're having a full-blown therapy session right now for this man and I'm just here because, that's what God does to me. He brings his children to me to where, like, okay, we need to talk this out so this person can see some things. And we were talking, like I said, and we got to talking even more, and Jay was showing me the memories of him and S and all that jazz, and he got a little more emotional, and I was just like, you need to, take a step back from him for a little bit, because, you got to give him some space and take a step back, and you need to focus on you. And Jay was like, yeah, I am doing that because of what happened. My heart was broken, and my heart was broken so bad that I literally came to him and I told him my heart was broken. And Kay, the person that, with S was replacing Jay with, was there, but Kay was in the closet hiding because of how powerful, or should I say how emotional Jay was at the time. So, and no, there was no physical altercations or no none of that, at least not that I know of. But he was saying that she felt my energy. She felt how upset I was because I was basically being replaced, and I was over here trying to figure out why I was being replaced and why you're hurting my feelings and hurting my heart. And I'm trying to tell, and Jay was saying, I'm trying to tell S, how I feel and all that jazz. And So that happened, and I was just like, okay. And then he said he got to a point where he was like, you know what, I'm not doing as much as I used to for S. I help him with his mom, and that's about it. I barely call him. I barely call him, and I'm doing better for myself, because at the end of the day, um, I gotta worry about me. And I was like, yeah, and I was like, I find it funny how I was like, I find it funny how God brought me into your life, especially when I just came across somebody that I used to mess with from my past, and I haven't seen that person in 3 years. But I've been like, during that time where I was in that situation with that person, and all the shit that was going on around that situation from the past person that I was with, I was just sitting there like, I'm basically here to tell you, to Jay, I'm basically here to tell you, you are going to be okay. Yes, this might hurt, because it wasn't even just the past person from 3 years ago. It was also the person that I had left just not so recently, in December last year. That you are going to be okay. You thought this person was your end all be all, but God basically took y'all apart to show you what you are not truly seeing, because love can make you blind. Love can really deter love can really put shades over your eyes, so you don't see the red flags in people. And God allowed you to see those red flags, but you got to understand that you are going to be okay. Yes, you thought this was going to be your end all be all, and yes, it might hurt, because you have to break away from this person, because you are no longer because you can no longer be with this person, because this person no longer wants you, and your heart is probably hurting. But I'm here to tell you that you are going to be okay. Just like how what happened with your past person, which, if you don't know about what happened with his past person, go back to part 1. It'll be in the description, okay? And I was like, how it happened with your past person, and you were basically not even thinking about going into another relationship until you met S. And so, sorry, playing. Like I was saying, you'll be okay. I was telling Jay, you'll be okay, because like what happened to your past person, and then you met S, and you thought S was going to be your end all be all. Okay, it's going to be the same way. Yes, it might hurt your heart to let go of this person that you love. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. What I'm saying is, that doesn't mean that just because you love that person, it doesn't mean that you are going to take the disrespect. It doesn't mean that you are going to stay in that situationship just because you love that person. You know what I'm saying? It is okay to love that person from a distance. It is okay to still have love for that person, but also remove yourself from that situation and find somebody else that is actually deserving of you and deserving of your time. Dancing bug, what's up? I'm sorry, y'all. The dancing bug is on my phone. But yeah, I was telling him, like, you'll be okay, and I was telling him about how like I said, the person on the bus and all that jazz. And then I was also telling him, like, you are an amazing person. From what I can tell, from what you've told me, you are an amazing person, and you deserve way better than that. And they was like, yeah, I do deserve way better than that. And I told them that you will find better than that, and you just have to keep, putting love into yourself and keep moving forward. So that happened, and we went our separate ways. But yeah, that's the story of a gay queen, But I also wanted you guys to know that if you are going through something in life to where, like, you thought this person that you was with is going to be your end all be all, and then God takes you guys apart to show you the truth, and you see the red flags that was hiding or that you couldn't see at first, don't worry, because at the end of the day, you will always find somebody that is better. If God is taking away from that person, don't worry about it, because at the end of the day, God is bringing you someone way better than this person, and you wouldn't even know that this person is way better, because you're holding on to that person that you thought was your end all be all. So let go of that person and allow God to bring somebody into you, so that you can have the love that you deserve, the love that you want, and the love that you cherish, okay? But yeah, that's about it, you know. Don't forget to like my video, comment, subscribe, check out my channel for more content like this, you know what I'm saying? And comment down below, you know, whatever you want to say, you know, if you want to talk about your story or anything, um, hit me up. You know, I don't mind listening to people and listening to their stories and giving them advice and stuff like that. That is what I'm here for. I'm here to heal the world, you know. I'm here to help people thrive in this chaos of a world. So hit me up. You know, I'll put my email in my I guess bio. I'll put my email in my bio. So if you want to talk, you can, you know. But that's about it, yeah. That's about it, y'all. I'm finna go in, sit in nature and enjoy myself, okay? Peace out, y'all.